Turns out your quote-unquote made in Italy luxury handbag might have more ties to Chinese factories than to Tuscany.
What if I told you that the $30,000 Hermès bag, the crown jewel of the fashion elite, might not be what you think it is? What if, instead of being lovingly stitched together in a quiet Parisian atelier by a single artisan with decades of training, it was actually produced in a sprawling Chinese factory for less than $600? Sounds insane, right? Except it's not a theory anymore. It's being backed by leaked footage, viral exposés, and claims from the very people who say they made these bags. This isn't just another fashion drama. This is a full-blown industry reckoning. A story that's blowing the lid off luxury and exposing a truth no one saw coming. For years, Hermes has been shrouded in a carefully curated mythology. Every piece they sell is wrapped not only in silk, but in prestige, scarcity, and heritage. The Birkin and the Kelly, two of the most coveted bags in the world, aren't just products. They're symbols, status emblems, gates to a club reserved only for the rich, famous, and well-connected. Each bag is marketed as an heirloom, the result of decades-old techniques passed down from one elite artisan to another. Buyers are told of rigorous 4-year training programs, meticulous hand-stitching methods, and custom leather selection processes that supposedly make every bag unique. The brand story is clear. If you own one of these, you own a piece of history. But what if that history isn't real? The cracks began small. A TikTok here, a whisper there. Then, full-blown viral chaos. Multiple Chinese manufacturers, claiming to be involved in luxury production, stepped into the spotlight. They weren't hiding. They were bragging. They showcased video footage from inside factories, panning over tables stacked with Birkin-style bags, hardware trays marked with Hermes logos, and skilled hands executing the signature saddle stitch. The message was crystal clear. These weren't imitations. These were the real thing. According to their claims, Hermes quietly outsources parts of its production to overseas factories. The bags are crafted, sometimes entirely, in China, then shipped to Europe for the finishing touches. Just enough to legally claim that coveted Made in France stamp. Then they're boxed up, priced at tens of thousands of dollars, and sold to you as the real deal. But here's the twist. Some of these manufacturers started selling extras, identical bags made with leftover materials sold on the side for a fraction of the price, with some openly calling them authentic. Hermes responded exactly as you'd expect from a billion-dollar empire with everything to lose, with lawyers, lawsuits, and fury. They issued aggressive denials, labeling the videos and allegations as malicious lies meant to destroy their brand. They filed legal actions against multiple factories, accusing them of defamation and intellectual property theft. Their official statements were crisp, corporate, and uncompromising. Every Hermes bag is handcrafted in France by trained artisans, period. But internally, things weren't so tidy. Sources claim executives were in damage control mode. Some even referred to the situation as a brand trust emergency. Internal memos warned staff to be cautious when discussing the allegations. Publicists scrambled to shape the media narrative. And while Hermes tried to shut down the story legally, the internet kept watching and rewatching. Something shifted. The more people watched, the more they started to see. Consumers began comparing their bags to the ones shown in the leaked videos. To their surprise and horror, the similarities were striking. Stitch for stitch, edge paint for edge paint. The differences were almost non-existent. TikTok became a war zone of side-by-side comparisons. Reddit threads ballooned with first-hand testimonies from confused and angry luxury buyers. Influencers who once flaunted their collections suddenly went quiet, or worse, defensive. Suddenly, the veil had lifted. The story wasn't just about Hermes anymore. It was about what people thought they were buying and what they'd actually paid for. Let's break this down financially. According to those insider claims, it costs around $600 to make a Birkin or Kelly. That includes everything: premium leather, skilled labor, high-grade hardware, and overhead. Yet those same bags retail for anywhere between $10,000 and $150,000. That's a markup of over 60 times. The justification from Hermes? Exclusivity, craftsmanship, legacy. But in an age of transparency, those words are starting to sound hollow. Because now consumers know the truth. They've been paying tens of thousands for a label, a story, a dream. And that dream may be far more manufactured than the bag itself. Once Hermes was in the crosshairs, people turned their eyes elsewhere. and what they found was just as damning. Prada was accused of assembling bags in China, then shipping them to Italy for the final stitch, just enough to legally call them made in Italy. Louis Vuitton reportedly produces many of its monogram bags in Spain or even the US, while charging European luxury prices. Chanel, silent as ever. The same Chinese factory workers claimed they had worked on products across multiple top-tier brands. The same leather, the same techniques, the same hands. The only real difference? The name stamped on the tag. If Hermes, the most exclusive luxury brand, can be compromised, who's really left? This wasn't just a PR crisis. It was an identity crisis for the industry. Luxury depends on mystique, on the belief that a product is rare, special, and impossible to replicate. But the moment you learn that your one-of-a-kind bag might have a twin made in the same building, that magic disappears. The resale market reacted fast. Prices dipped. Authenticity verifiers were overwhelmed. Collectors began quietly selling off bags, and buyers started walking away. Because now, even if the bag is technically real, the aura is gone. And in luxury, perception is everything. China's quiet revolution. Here's the part that really twists the knife. Chinese factories are not the issue. In fact, many of them are among the best in the world. These facilities use cutting-edge technology, high-end materials, and incredibly skilled labor. They've mastered luxury manufacturing. So the problem isn't the quality, it's the lie. The lie that something only has value if it's touched by European hands. The illusion that made in China means cheap and mass-produced. What we're seeing now is a cultural shift, one that's exposing deep-rooted assumptions about craftsmanship, value, and status. And that's what really threatens luxury brands. Not counterfeits, but competition from their own shadow operations. So here's the real question. What are we actually buying when we splurge on luxury? Is it the leather, the stitching, the legacy, or just the illusion? Because if the same hands, the same materials, and the same designs exist outside the brand, then maybe the only real difference is the story. And once that story crumbles, the whole empire starts to shake. Luxury didn't get exposed by frauds. It got exposed by the very people who make it. And now, the industry is scrambling to put the genie back in the bottle. But the truth is out. The internet never forgets. And the fallout? It's just beginning.